So I'm a paleontologist and I work in the Department of Zoology here in Cambridge, looking at the origins and early evolution of animals. So these animals, these first animals, are found during the Ediacaran time period, almost 600 million years ago. And they look really, really strange, unlike anything else either alive today or in the fossil record. As a result, it's really, really hard to study them because you can't have any modern analogues to which you'd normally compare fossils to. So instead, what I do is I use the amazing preservation that we get in the Ediacaran. So rather like Pompeii, entire communities of animals were preserved under volcanic ash flows, so they were preserved where they were living on the rock surface. Now what this means is you capture their entire life histories by looking at the position of the fossils on the rock. And so I work in Newfoundland, Canada, and in the UK in Charnwood Forest, analysing the community patterns of these first animals by laser scanning the fossil surfaces and then analysing the spatial positions of the fossils on the rock. And this enables me to work out all sorts of things that weren't previously known about these first animals, such as how they reproduced and how they interacted with each other and with their environment. So I first found out about the Henslow Fellowship after I'd been to a talk that's been organised by the Cambridge Philosophical Society. And one of my colleagues started talking about it, how the Cambridge Philosophical Society also funded research fellowships for people who had just finished their PhDs. Now this particular research fellowship sounded particularly good because it would enable me to actually develop my own independent research ideas and focus exactly on what I wanted to do and develop and test the hypothesis that I'd already been thinking about during my PhD. So for my work I need to do a lot of analyses of fossil specimens. Ideally, the more fossils the better. So this requires collecting data out in the field, and in particular working in Newfoundland, Canada, on the coast, where you get hundreds of metre squares of rock surfaces covered in fossils. However, capturing this fossil data is rather hard because you need to capture very large areas, so hundreds of square metres, but you need to have it at such a resolution that you can actually identify the different species. And most of the methods that people normally use when doing field work, such as LiDAR, don't have the sort of resolution that we need to actually identify the species. So what I've been doing is developing new combinations of methods. So I use LiDAR to capture the large-scale rock surfaces, and then what's known as a laser line probe in order to capture the subtle details of the fossils. And so this laser line probe is mounted on a tripod and then a mechanical arm and pass the laser line probe over the fossil surface, and this doesn't damage the fossils in any way. The fossil surfaces are incredibly protected. In fact, one of the main sites is Mistaken Point is a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of its importance to understanding the evolution of life on Earth. So you have to be really careful with these fossils because we don't want to damage them in any way. So we need to take the tripod, the mechanical arm and the laser out to these fossil sites along with a petrol generator so they can get power, as well as a rather large laptop that's powerful enough to process the data. So the Henslow Fellowship has really transformed my career because it was during the Henslow Fellowship that I was able to develop my methods of laser scanning data collection in the field. And what it means now is that I have a database of all the Ediacaran communities from this time period. This database has enabled me to apply for external funding and extend my research into brand new directions.